Cars and Coffee Las Vegas. Not only do we have American classics, but we also have some British cars. And this really caught my eye. This is quite a beautiful car. Why don't you tell me a little bit about not only the year and model, but what do they call this color?
Well, I'm not quite sure what they call the color. I call it a sky blue. There's a little bit of metal flake in it. It's a 1970 Jaguar XKE E-Type Roadster, 4.2-liter engine. Everything is pretty much original on the car, including the engine, which is, like I said, a 4.2-liter inline six.
How many horsepower does it have?
Off the top of my head, Solomon, I got to be honest with you, I don't know. I just like to get in and drive them because I hate trailer queens. I have a number of old cars. This is one of my favorites, as you can imagine. This was bought from a friend of mine down in Phoenix. She owned it for a lot of years. Didn't put a lot of miles on it because she kept having, as most British owners know, electrical problems. But I have a terrific mechanic here in town. He assessed what we needed to do right away, and we made that change, and it starts right up and charges great.
Now, Cars and Coffee, do you come by and show it off often?
You know, I have a number of cars. Right now I've got about 21 classic cars, and so I'll pick and choose, and maybe once or twice a month I'll bring the 55 T-Bird, or I'll bring the 75 Alfa Romeo Spider, or, you know, so I'll the ones that are out roadworthy right now, I'll just pick one and then come down and display it. The one I'm working on right now to restore that I just got is a 1952 Jaguar XKE 120 Roadster. So my hope is that within the next month and a half, I'll have that here at Cars and Coffee as well.
Now, you know, you just mentioned a few of the cars that you own, but quite eclectic in your collection. Often, you know, most people either stick to one brand or one era, but yours is pretty eclectic. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, the eclectic part of my collection is value. If I see a good value for a vehicle and it has some unique aspects to it that I think would be worth something to somebody later on, I'll pick that car up and get it roadworthy and things like that. For example, right now I'm actually looking at, in another part of the country, a 1959 Ford Edsel Villager station wagon. All original. The owner thinks the engine's seized. I'm not quite so sure because it only has 62,000 miles on it. So if I'm willing to get the right deal with this gentleman, I'll be the owner of a 1955 Edsel wagon as well.
Any particular favorites that you have? Do you name them? Do you get attached to them?
I don't name them. I do get attached to some. I'll give you an example. Jim Rogers, you know, may he rest in peace, had a terrific collection, but most of his cars were 1950s convertibles or 1950s cars. So I bought a car out of his collection that didn't seem to have a whole lot of interest by the audience at the time of the auction, and that was a 1935 Daimler. And right now, there's an issue with the starter solenoid. Once I get that done, that car will be done and ready for the road. It's in beautiful shape. It's a gorgeous car. I have a 55 T-Bird, a 48 MGTC, a 53 MGTD. I have a Tatra, a 1952 Tatra, which most people don't know what they are, but collectors are getting more accustomed to what they are. So I have some unique 66 Fiat 1500 Cabriolet. So I have some neat little cars that, although they don't go in a theme, the theme was value. For example, my 66 Fiat I got for $300, and then did some work to it, cleaned it up, and actually paid the owner another $150 to bring it over from Los Angeles so he could spend the weekend with his wife in Vegas. So it worked out great.
About this particular car?
Yes.
Do you use it just for shows, or do you actually drive it and do some tours with it, and even out of town?
I don't do any tours. One of the things, my son and I, who's here at the show with me as well, we do it together. This is a hobby of ours, and every year we go to the Concours d'Elegance at Pebble Beach. So one year what we've decided to do is we may take the two Jaguars, the 52 XK 150, or excuse me, 120, and the 70 XKE, and we may drive up to Pebble along the Pacific Coast Highway, just as an experience, a father-son experience. So we're trying to figure out which year. Obviously, everybody up there loves old and classic cars, so we know they'd appreciate them. But we're trying to figure out what year we're going to do that. We've gone every year for the past 7 years, and that's the father and son time we get every year, so it's a lot of fun.
Well, we sure appreciate you sharing this beautiful car, and hopefully many more of the ones that you're going to be restoring in the future. Thank you for coming by.
Solomon, stop by anytime. Always happy to talk to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good job.